is up, everybody? Welcome to the Burndown YouTube channel. We're out here again today on the Mailboom. So today is one of those days where we're going to get to kind of make some forward progress, hopefully, instead of going backwards. I'm not going to bite off more than I can chew today, so I'm not going to say how far I think we're going to get, but what we're looking to do is take my engine here and mount it up to a 480E and then try to slide it in and see what kind of room we're working with and how much of the transmission tunnel may or may not have to leave. So that's what we're going to do today. We'll pull the transmission out here. I have one sitting in the back. I'm supposed to send it out to my boy Ryan Jans. He's actually going to put together a 480E for me, but it's not going to be able to leave for a little while, so I feel okay about using the actual transmission that I'm going to be running for mock-up versus using one that I'm not. So I think we're going to do that today. That does mean I'll have to pull it back out, but I figure depending on how it fits in there, we'll probably have to pull it back out for welding and stuff anyway. So let's get after it. We'll drag the transmission around, plug the motor in, and then see if we can slide it on down and see what kind of mess we got. So here she is. Here is the culprit. This is an earlier style, so the ports are here. On the later model one, like you see me do for the Twinnebago, it has a port here and then a port back over in this general area. So we're going to use this one, which is the older style, for the boom, and this is what we're going to test the mock-up and everything with. So yeah, we'll leave everything together as it is, and like I said, I'm thinking that this is the section that's kind of the issue, but I don't know. I haven't even Googled it yet. I'm sure you guys already know by now what's what. I don't really care what Google says, because we have a car and transmission and tunnel, and we can put it in and see for ourselves how it goes. But I'm thinking this portion back here is going to be our, you know, our deal. Here she is all mounted up. I had to put, this is where the turbo feed was, and this thing just kept kind of leaking. So we plugged that so we don't continue to make a mess. But man, this thing's as long as a Cadillac now. That other transmission is like super short compared to this. So we will see. I'm gonna have to put weight on it and hang it down and then put it in like that. As with the Power Glide, I can just damn near pull it straight up and out if you watch that video. So I think I'm gonna move the hook to maybe here, so we need a good angle on it, and that's it. I'll take the hood off, and then I'll clean up this stuff, because I know I'm gonna have to crawl in and out from underneath there and roll around in it. So, and then I'll move the cross member. But yeah, moment of truth, boys. Let's see if we can sneak her down in there. I might have to jack the car up too, depending on the angle, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see if we can just sneak this thing in there and see how she fits. It turns out with the early style 480, the GM engineers in 63 must have known, 64 year, that I was going to do this, because it looks like the thing fits pretty well. I mean, I think we even have enough room. We'll have to see on the fittings. So technically it fits. So whoever yelled at me in the comments, because I haven't even put the other videos up, but I know that somebody's like, dude, it'll fit. It does, technically, but I think I want a little more room there for the lines, so the transmission lines can have the two straights that come out. So maybe we'll work on that. I have to find the angle, right? This thing's jacked up, and then I think you can see it looks like it's sloping down, in my opinion. So we have to find the correct pinion angle. So I think, I mean, it does fit in there, but I think it's sloped too far down. So I don't want to get ahead of myself and say, oh yay, look. But I'll show you guys. I mean, it is pretty dang darn close. See, I think we're still like a little low, but man, it is, nothing's touching. Look at, but yeah, so like I said, it's, I think like that sensor, pretty much just this one right here, because we got room over there, and then maybe even that part of the case where it's squared off if I have to bring it up, depending on how far, and then up here the top of this. So what I will do now is try to figure out the angle on this guy, and we'll see what the driveline angle is. But again, this, I mean, if I come up any more, that's going to kind of hit anyway. So I think we are really close, but I think that we're gonna have to cut some stuff. So let me play with it. I'll let you know what I decide. But I mean, it actually almost does fit, which is great. It's less work and effort for me, and we can move forward quicker. So let me play with it. I'll bring you back on my final thought on what I think we need to do to get this thing done. And then I need a transmission mount. I don't have one. I'll have to look at the other junk transmissions and see if I got one. I'd like to run a new one. But yeah, you can see where the mount is there versus the holes up there. So we'll have to see. I mean, this thing's just mounting itself, man. I think this is destiny. So it's been a little while, and I jacked the transmission up more, basically till that sensor was kind of touching. I think the angle is much better. I measured a bunch with my digital angle gauge here, and essentially, you know, we came up with different numbers, but when I zeroed the thing out kind of and put it on there, it was a 6.3 and an 8.3, give or take. It changed a little bit here and there, so I'm just going to count it similar because I believe it's close enough. So if these were the same, you'd have a 0 pinion angle, right? So if you were 3 degrees down on the trans and 3 degrees up on the rear end, they'd zero each other out, but we're not there, so we're 2 degrees off. So I have a 2 degree pinion angle versus a 0 degree, if that makes sense. I'll show you. I think it's gonna be good enough for my house too. You guys let me know in the comments, but I think it'll be okay. Ooh. So I think this is high up as I want to go. We got to leave room for the yoke, make sure the yoke can spin. It doesn't move right here very much, right? Because the drive shaft, or this transmission tail shaft, is there. But that guy's touching, so I'd like to make room for that. And you can see all my floor panels all chewed up, so I think maybe the go-to is take the patch off that I made and see where we're at, maybe cut that out and then just make a whole new patch piece. And again, I'd like to make room for the blanket. I don't know if the blanket goes there, but if I have to slide it off or on, or I think the blanket's more for the planetary, which is, well, there's planetaries kind of back here too, so I'd like to make enough room. So I think that's what we're gonna do. And then this is pretty much the angle I believe it's gonna be at. So I think we're gonna be okay. And technically, it's pretty darn close to fitting, depending on how you want your pinion angle or whatever, I guess. But yeah. And then if you had the stock floor, I think this would damn near be touching. So I guess you could just trim this off the transmission. But if this was a stock floor, we would be into the floor. But man, it is pretty well close. You could probably move that with a hammer if you really didn't care that much. Oh, look. Looks like the thing was getting up on there. So this is the, maybe that was the other yoke or something. I don't know. Anyway, we'll take this. Let me get in there, see if I can do that. We'll take the plate off. You can see the holes in it where I mounted the shifter. That's why I need to make this cover. So we'll take that off, and then we can kind of look down and see what we're looking at. But I'm going to lower this so we don't get into anything if we start cutting or drilling. So I'm going to drill some of these rivets out right now. And I believe it'll fit. We'll just have to make a little bit of room here, which isn't a big deal. I mean, technically I could use the hammer, but because the transmission's in place, I'm not gonna be able to swing a hammer from underneath here, so we'll just cut and make a piece there. And then same with this. We'll get in from the top and see what it looks like. We'll make an assessment. But yeah, pinion angle wise and everything, it pretty well fits in there decent. So let's mess with that. We'll get a look at it and then see how we go. We'll probably just maybe cut some stuff out and make room, and then that's where I think we'll call it for today. So here's the patch that I made, and essentially I just made this piece so I can mount my shifter, because there's a big gaping hole right here. So it was quick and dirty. It obviously stayed in place and worked for what it was. We'll take all the rivets out, pull this thing out, and then see what we're working with. We'll see the ugly hole that's there. So I don't feel that bad for taking everything out. As a matter of fact, I feel better. And then I did have to take this and that off. So I think we pretty well called it good, but look, I still have room for all that too, so that's cool. So I don't think I have to move my computer or any of that stuff at all. Looks like it'll all still fit through there, so that is pretty awesome. So let's remove this, kind of see what we're working with, maybe cut a little more up, and then get out of this oven of a freaking car, dude. I'm sweating my balls off. Ta-da! All right, this is where we are going to wrap for today. So we cut out the ugly, we took the ugly patch off, now we have a big ugly hole. We jacked it up a bit more, so this is higher up in the car, and we're at about a 2.5 offset on the pinion angle. So it's not zeroed out, it's 2.5, but I believe that is acceptable. A little tight over here, so we're gonna have to make a decision, probably make a little bit bigger hole and bring it up steeper so that way there's more clearance. And I'd like to get a yoke to make sure the yoke can do its thing without getting into the floor. So I did cut it further back because this floor is a lot lower over here. So I feel better about this. I think I would have to cut the floor anyway, even if it wasn't ugly. But two birds with one stone, right? And then I think I'd like to incorporate the drive shaft safety loop. When I get the yoke, I can measure, because it needs to be like 6 inches behind the U-joint, I believe it is. So we'll do that back here as well. So that is it, man. It's been kind of warm. I'm gonna sleep on this. We'll figure it out some more. We'll get a yoke. We'll get this wrapped, and then we'll move on to more fun stuff. But yeah, 4LAD is kind of in here. We got to make a cross member, but we're getting there one day at a time. We're almost building a day. You guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. Till next time, I'm out.